Fight Fiend forecast is here for the UFC 327 forecast report. And we got a new champion at light heavyweight. We're going to go right to the Octagon interview. And one thing I want to mention, I can't believe they went to an Octagon interview with Jiri Prochazka after the fight. Obviously, it was a tough loss for him to take. He wants to get home quick. He has a baby daughter on the way. So Joe Rogan asked him some questions. It was tough for Jiri to get a true answer out. Obviously, it was a tough loss for him. So let's take a listen in to the Octagon interview. Once again from last night, we got a new champ. It's Carlos Ulberg. We're going to screen share this here now. On the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Jiri.
Very tough time for Jiri to get his words out. And you got to remember, he was just knocked out and lost in the championship fight minutes before this interview. So I don't know why they interviewed him so fast. Right now, obviously, before that knockout, Jiri was winning the fight. Carlos hurt his knee. Looked like Jiri was going in for the kill, little defense. He ended up getting damn caught right on the chin. Durability did not hold up. Carlos really found that counter shot in desperation. Like I said, his knee was very compromised. Had a tough time putting weight on that leg. And then he ended up finding the counter shot round one to drop Jiri Prochazka. That was why we all love MMA. Rather if you were on the right side or not, this is why we love MMA. It doesn't seem appropriate to give Jiri an Octagon interview so fast after that loss, after getting knocked out. They went right to Jiri Prochazka with an interview. Obviously, the crowd and the fans were on the side of Jiri Prochazka in this fight, but I just feel like it's not needed to go and give Jiri an interview right after that loss. Obviously, he had a tough time answering some questions, and he was visible. Successful pregnancy, everything goes good. He gets home quick, and his baby girl is born. Obviously, a lot on the mind of Jiri Prochazka. Tough times for him. I don't think the Octagon interview was needed so fast after the loss, but it is what it is. Carlos Ulberg, on the other hand, he's the new guy at 205. On the co-main event there at UFC 327, we seen Azamat Murzakanov as a growing favorite throughout the whole week lose the fight. Now maybe Paulo Costa's a contender at 205 now that he's not cutting weight to 185. 205 might be the right weight class for Paulo Costa. He landed the knockout versus a undefeated 16-0 Russian fighter, Azamat Murzakanov. So huge win in the co-main event at 205. This division is really heating up now. 4 picks correct in Miami. The heat was not there for the picks. Good fights, bad picks. Miami left a sunburn on F3, to say the least here. Essentially, the picks weren't lit. That's unfortunate, but we're going to continue to move forward and bounce back off these losses. Now, thankfully, this event was very fun and enjoyable. Look at the Josh Hockett Curtis Blades fight. That was a banger fight. We talk about a shoey bet here later on the show on that one. And we did another shoey bet with Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker, which was the complete opposite of Josh Hockett and Curtis Blades. One fight you seen a bunch of strikes. One fight we seen next to none. Unbelievable the way Johnny Walker and Reyes talked up that fight and went out and did little to nothing. 4 picks incorrect. I was on Nate the Train. This was a questionable pick I took this week. I definitely should have took Cub Swanson. I told Prelim Tim on the DMs, I think it was Friday night, Cub Swanson's probably going to knock out Nate the Train. Not really sure why I said I'm on the train. I'm all aboard the train in this spot. Well, Cub ended up getting the knockout round 1, and he rides off into the sunset with a clubbing in round 1. Cub Swanson, what a retirement fight for him. Just like Michael Chiesa not too long ago. He gets the round 1 finish, and he rides off into the sunset. So long to Cub Swanson. Just clubbed him round 1. And then Azamat Murzakanov, couldn't get it going really versus Paulo Costa. The leg kicks were too much for Paulo. The power and the secret juice was a hell of a lot too much for Paulo Costa. Ended up getting him the win. His first fight at 205. Now he's looking like a contender. I was completely doubting Paulo Costa. I didn't think he was taking the sport as serious. I didn't think he could beat a guy that was 16-0 undefeated on a huge win streak. Who I thought Azamat Mirzakhanov was going to be more powerful and quicker to the punch, but Azamat Mirzakhanov was having trouble closing the gap in this fight, and his speed did not look as fast as normal. And maybe that's because Paulo Costa is a lot quicker at this weight class. He doesn't have to cut weight. He's more comfortable. So I was on the wrong side of that pick as well. And the other pick that was sent to the Shadow Realm, we got 3 of them who were knocked out, was Jiri Prochazka. We just talked about it there. Lost in the interim light heavyweight championship fight to Carlos Ulberg. And he was going in for the kill. Carlos Ulberg had his knee completely compromised, had a hard time putting weight on the leg. Jiri went in for the kill and got counter shot, knocked out, dropped on his ass. That's unfortunate. Now he's headed back to see his baby daughter get born. Obviously a lot on the mind of Jiri Prochazka. So wish him the best. Let's go for that. I was all for that. I was thinking that little one-liner, mixed up English terminology was going to take off, but he couldn't go for that. He couldn't do that. Carlos Ulberg was counted out by a lot of people on Tapology this week. I was talking about it, like the odds and the Tapology picks sometimes don't correlate or reflect each other. And in the Jiri Prochazka fight, I seen 88% of Tapology picks on Jiri, and the odds were minus 110 apiece come fight time. So Tapology picks and the public did not reflect the percentages that the sport books had. That was a little warning sign for me. Next week, hopefully I can see the warning signs in advance, give out better picks, because 4 out of 12 is horrendous. Fight Fiend himself was sent to the Shadow Realm in Miami. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fuck. Anyways, next opponent for Jiri Prochazka, I would probably give him Azamat Mirzakhanov. You know, we just seen him take a loss to Paulo Costa. This could be a bounce back win for either guy. Both could be kind of at the same level now in the division. It's kind of winner moves on up the ranks type of spot. Or you can give Jiri a more winnable fight with Bogdan Guzkov, who does have a fight with Jan Blachowicz coming up next in a rematch. So maybe Jiri takes the winner of Blachowicz and Bogdan Guzkov. Early forecast is Bogdan Boogeyman Guzkov in that rematch versus Blachowicz. Jiri Prochazka, though, realistically would be a great fight with Azamat Mirzakhanov after both of them getting knocked out in Miami. Let me know, fiends and forecasters, who should Jiri Prochazka fight next? What bets really let you down on the card, or was it just a whole letdown altogether? Were there some plays that actually cashed in that made you some good money on this event? Obviously, some people were in disagreement. They did have Carlos Ulberg. They also had Cub Swanson. So some great picks were given out in the Discord for free and on the Prop Fiend show. We're going to talk about that now, and it's live each and every event, 9 p.m. Eastern time. AJ MMA was the only one on a great show to hit a prop, and it was a snipe. It was a chalky one, but you could still double your money. And actually, looking at the props in Miami, there was a lot of juice on the props. None of them were too chalky. Gamrot decision was the only one that went below plus 100 before fight time, and he ended up going out there and getting the submission. So I actually thought he got the decision. It ends up AJ didn't even hit this prop, but Gamrot did get the win. So that was a submission win. Shocking there. Gamrot's normally a decision dominator, and this prop was the only one that was really chalked up all week, looking at the props in Miami. Now, the dog of the week in Miami was versus Gamrot, the gamer. Not a great look, not a great fight for Esteban Ribovics, but it was another great video, and unfortunately, he could not get it done. I'm not going to sit here and complain. He got taken down. He got controlled and it looked like he didn't game plan for Gamrot whatsoever. He deserved to lose the fight. That was embarrassing for Esteban Ribovics. I thought they were going to try to build him up, but he's certainly a fighter that they can still build him up on like a UFC Argentina card. We got Alin Perez in the UFC, Kevin Vallejos. I think we might be going to Argentina sometime soon. Ribovics will still be on that card, I would say. He'll be in the UFC for a bit. Obviously, this was a big step up in competition, and AJ was sharp on the Gamrot side. Prop Fiends decided to have a little fun on Friday. We wanted to make a couple bets for fun. Obviously, you don't have to put your money on each and every fight. So me and AJ said, hey, you go Walker, Fight Fiend will take Reyes, and we'll do a shoey bet. This fight was the most boring fight I've seen all year, maybe in my whole lifetime. I thought this was going to be a round one finish. They went out there and did absolutely nothing. Now I'm going to do maybe a whole separate video on this because there's lots to talk about and I have lots of information to give out, some clips to show. So I'm not going into depth on the fight. It was boring. I was falling asleep. Like, they talked it up at the presser, and it certainly didn't live up to the hype. Sometimes it is what it is. Now, Fight Fiend got it done split decision on this one, but Josh Hockett, holy shit, he walked the talk in this one. He won this decision over Curtis Blades, and at times, both fighters could have got finished. At times, both fighters were death gassing, but he walked the talk, and Josh Hockett had more heart in this fight. He bit down on the mouthpiece, he ate the shots, and he just moved forward the whole fight, throwing heavy leather, got it done. Very excited, very, very excited to see what Josh Hockett does in the future, and he does have his next opponent booked at the UFC White House. UFC Freedom 250. We got Josh Hockett, Derek Lewis. So that's another separate video I could go into depth on and talk about the whole UFC White House card again on a live stream. Stay forecasted F3. Lots of video ideas coming up after this UFC 327 event. And there's even another one I was thinking, a new heavyweight prospect, Gable Stevenson, is going to enter the UFC pool here now at heavyweight. Very interested to see what the Olympic gold wrestler can do. Gable Stevenson, that's a big addition to the UFC heavyweight class. And Josh Hockett was a massive addition. He walked the talk. He got a lot of views on his short videos for the UFC shorts and the content all week. He blew the media away. He got lots of views, and that's what the UFC likes. Dana likes him a little bit more now than before. Obviously, if he lost this fight, it wouldn't have looked so good. Talking all that stuff, the whole character act would have looked like it would have looked a whole lot worse. It would have been way more cringy. And maybe he would have got cut in the future if he just death gassed and got knocked out. But he held up and he proved he's someone to watch out for in the heavyweight division. I'm so excited to see what Josh Hockett can do. And I don't mind being on the wrong side of this. Should we bet? One hell of a fight. One to definitely bookmark for sure. I'll rewatch that one in the future. Banger fight. Unreal Prop Fiend show. I'm not sure if a prop actually hit, which is unusual because I swept the props last week, the week before there. So even AJ MMA was hot there. 2 for 3 on props, multiple events. Arkansas, he swept the Prop Fiend show a couple weeks ago. So for all Fiends to go 0 for 3, it was just a tricky event in Miami. It was a mess. And not just in Miami. I want to mention these numbered events have been tricky and messy all year. So let's just keep note of that. Let's cut back the bankroll on these numbered events. Let's maybe think a little bit harder on our picks on the numbered events and maybe start hedge betting a little bit more often when it's these big numbered events. I'm just looking to do a little bit more research moving forward, taking my time on the numbered events, maybe even pick some spots I normally wouldn't, because the numbered events are a mess and it's very tricky to do good on them. Prelim Tim, 8 for 12, I do believe, last night on the numbered event, UFC 327. So that was a great percentage on picks. He is in the Discord absolutely free. He has his own channels. He gives out all of his UFC picks. So if you don't like my picks, you can check out Prelim Tim in Discord absolutely free. Hit the links in the description below. Prelim Tim has Nick's Licks UFC forecast channel, and he has a lot of information absolutely free. And so does Fight Fiend. Thanks everyone stopping by. The forecast report. Yeah, it was a tough night. 4 picks correct, but we're still going to have fun with it. We're still doing giveaways each and every week. End of the Prop Fiends. I got a little pissed off last week, but it is what it is. We're just going to limit some of the money given out. Keep going with that $50 giveaway, but limit some other money given out and just ignore some other comments and stuff like that. It is what it is. Appreciate everybody tuning in, staying forecasted. Y'all know after a tough week, after a losing week, F3 claws back quick and usually has a big week the next one. And we all know Fight Fiend's ready to win in Winnipeg. We're in Canada. You know, I got the Blue Jays flag here in the room. I'm Canadian. We're going absolutely ballistic in Canada. We're going to beat up on these bookies. We're definitely winning in Winnipeg. And to plug out the show, Lutz for Days is here. He said, bring back the bacon next week. Yeah, we got to fry them up. Fry up that fucking bacon. Put some toast down. Butter it up. We're going to cook in Winnipeg. We're getting the win. And thanks everybody once again for staying forecasted. More videos coming out this week. If you missed the show, just go back, rewatch it, drop a comment, smash that like button because I much appreciate it. We'll be back maybe later today. Might cook something up. Let me know what you want to see from Fight Fiend, and I'll do my best to do another live stream. So drop a comment below. Much appreciated. Let's go.